This three-city, 11-day, 10-game road trip will come to a conclusion tonight as the Astros play the final game of a four-game series against the Kansas City Royals from Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Lance McCullers Jr. gets to start tonight for the Astros. Houston coming in with a record of 42-18, playing game number 61 on the year. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. And Blummer, despite the fact that the Astros have lost 2 games in a row for just the second time all year on the road, they're still a .700 baseball team, and they can finish this road trip off with an 8-2 record if they win tonight. Yeah, it's an awfully good sign that we're seeing Lance McCullers running out to the bullpen after the episode we had last night. But it's a good way to finish off this road trip, having Lance go out there for the Houston Astros. Astros come back tomorrow against the Angels. But what you were referring to last night was that Dallas Keuchel ran out to warm up. Something didn't feel right, and as it turns out, Dallas placed on the DL. Yeah, a little misinformation early on with the illness. We knew there might be something else going on. There's ways to treat the illnesses, but obviously something more going on in that neck than we know about. Therefore, they're going to put Dallas Keuchel on that 10-day DL. He's already been on it once, so he's hopefully only going to miss 1 start. But you get yourself a chance to see Francis Martes, a top prospect in the Astros organization. He is in the bullpen, and he is necessary because the Astros really used up their bullpen last night. Tonight, they'd like to see Lance take this game deep. Yeah, they would. And that last outing he had against the Texas Rangers was abbreviated. He threw 96 pitches in just over 4 innings. So they'd like to see him calm down a little bit. And I think he went to bed last night knowing that he had to settle down today and go out there and be efficient with pitches. He's been very good with the fastball in the zone. The changeup has gotten into that repertoire with Brian McCann back there. But between the two of them, they've really got to do a good job of pitching to contact and trying to extend this outing for Lance McCullers, considering that bullpen is beat up. Good news for Lance is that this Kansas City team chases the most of any team in baseball and also takes the fewest pitches. But last night they did all their damage with 2 outs. All 7 runs scored with 2 outs for the Royals. They kept pecking away at the Astros bullpen. Dion Diaz got the start. Then they turned it over to other relievers like Tony Sipp. And the Royals do what they do. They put the ball in play, and they are a very pesky offense. As you can see, Lance McCullers is very good when facing teams with 2 outs. He has been very good. Young man has electric stuff, but he also has the idea of when he has guys with 2 strikes, he goes for the put-away pitch. So it'll be nice to see him face up against this offense. When we come back, we are getting ready for baseball on a Thursday night from Kansas City. The guy who started his career with the Royals, Carlos Beltran. We'll hear more about Beltran as we roll on from Kauffman Stadium after this.
time, it's the series finale between the Astros and the Royals. The Astros looking to grab a win in this final game of the 4-game set. Could be a start of another winning streak. It has been such a fun stretch for this Houston Astros team. Everyone having a great time, including Carlos Beltran, who's been on a lot of teams in his 20 years, but definitely has talked a lot about the fun that he's having at 40 years old with a group that's as talented as this one. He played a huge part in that 11-game win streak that the Astros just had. Also played a big part on the 12-game win streak the Astros had back in 2004. 04 bringing back some really great memories for Carlos Beltran. He was traded to Houston from right here in Kansas City, the organization that he came up with. Sad at the time, but once he got in that clubhouse filled with veterans at 26 years old, and the way they were playing, he was perfectly fine. They were 36-10 down the stretch, obviously clinched on the final day of the season to head to the postseason, and that's where Beltran went off. The numbers you just saw there, the .435 average, the 8 total home runs. Pretty impressive stuff. We are still talking about it, but it's a time that he does not mind reflecting on. Here he is.
Well, I remember when I got traded to the Astros, we were like 8 games behind first place, and we ended up clinching the last game of the season. So I knew the second half of the season we really played well. You know, we win a lot of games. You know, we were able to make a lot of good things happening, you know, and you know, the previous one that we just have recently, 11 games here, it's fun. You know, every time you're capable of coming to a ballpark every day and you know that you have a chance to win, it's a good feeling.
So far, Beltran is loving wearing that Astros uni, and you love looking back at that 04 stretch for him in the postseason. A guy I want to bring in to talk a little bit more about the veteran, Jeff Blum, who's going to be calling the game tonight. We talk about his bat, how valuable he is on the field, but where do they find Beltran most valuable?
Probably in that clubhouse. That was a great conversation with Carlos, and it's interesting to see how calm he is. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why he's in that clubhouse. Obviously, he brings a good bat with him. The approach is a good thing for guys to watch. But inside that clubhouse, especially the times right now, you've got your ace going on the shelf in Dallas Keuchel. So he's a guy in the clubhouse who's going to try and calm these guys down. What he has seen throughout the course of his career is what these guys can really draw from. It's going to be storytelling, it's going to be situations, it's going to remind him of times and teams that he was on, but he's also drawing from a lot of the guys that he played with coming up through the major leagues. And he's talked about being next to Biggio when he got traded over to the Houston Astros, drawing on some of that experience. But his job is to go in there and encourage these kids. And I think the biggest thing we see in a lot of his at-bats, and early in the season, everybody had high expectations of Carlos Beltran, but now he's starting to produce. But the no panic mentality I think these guys have in that clubhouse and on the field has a lot to do with Carlos Beltran.
Blummer, we're talking him up. He's not even in the lineup tonight, but he in that dugout is almost like an extra coach. What are some of the things that he does in there? Why is it so important to have a guy like that in the dugout, even on a night off?
Well, your hitting coach is going to watch a lot of swings. They're going to have a lot of different opinions, and sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating to go to a hitting coach and say, hey, I'm scuffling. Could you watch this? Can you do that? As opposed to going to a guy like Carlos Beltran, who's right in the trenches with you, battling through AB to AB. He can watch those pitches a little bit differently. We know he knows how to pick up guys that are tipping their pitches. He has valuable insight in that sense, but he's also a guy that has some soothing words because he is in the middle of the grind with these guys. He will tell those guys to relax. Don't panic, you'll be fine, you're a good ball player, and that's what he brings to this ball club. He also probably has some pretty good insight into techniques and things like that. I remember Jeff Kent telling me in certain counts what he was looking for, and that really rubbed off on me.
You and Beltran both learning from some of the best right there, mentioning games like Craig Biggio, of course, as well. Thanks so much, Blummer. Enjoy the game tonight. Have a good call up there. We'll get back to you in just a few minutes. These Astros are going to take the field in just a few minutes. Lance McCullers will take the mound as well as they look to get back to their winning ways right here in Kansas City. We'll have more after the break.
Root Sports is brought to you by the original light beer, Miller Lite, hold true. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Kansas City is the last stop on a highly productive road trip for the Astros offense. Can they keep the hit parade rolling and get win number 8 on the trip? The Bats are ready to go when we come back. By Southwest Airlines. George Springer will lead things off for Houston tonight. Josh Reddick will bat second. Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Brian McCann 3 through 5. Evan Gattis in the DH spot. Yuli Gurriel at first. Alex Bregman at third. And Nori Aoki is in left field.
On the mound for the Kansas City Royals, you are looking at right-hander Jason Hamill, free agent signed for the Kansas City Royals, making his 12th start. He has fallen victim of the home run ball in recent starts. Gave up 2 early in that last start against Cleveland. His fastball, if he is not locating well, will get hit around. Slugging percentage at .516, and he's given up 6 home runs on that fastball.
So the Astros look to get a series split tonight and go home with an 8-2 road trip record. George Springer takes a strike, and we're underway. Another beautiful night here in Kansas City as we wrap up this 4-game series. First night was a little warm. The next 3 nights have all been ideal. Springer fouls back the pitch from Hamill. It's 0-2. Jason Hamill, 34-year-old, last 2.5 seasons with the Cubs. Career high 15 wins last year and 30 starts. Back in the American League, he has been back and forth between the AL and NL throughout his career. See in the very first batter of the game, Hamill always works out of the stretch. Misses with that pitch. It's 1-2. Only other time this year the Astros lost back-to-back games on the road was in Cleveland. Astros losing Tuesday night after leading that game 7-1 and then losing last night 7-5. 1-2 pitch misses inside. It's 2-2.
Got to get out of the Central. 9-10 against Central teams.
Well, it's time for the AL West after tonight. Astros will see all 4 of their divisional opponents in the next 5 series. Hamill gets Springer swinging and missing. And Jason Hamill starts the game with a strikeout of George Springer. Time to play, presented by Toyota. Astros have the best batting average in baseball against the fastball of 305. They're also best against the fastball and slugging percentage at 536. Jason Hamill's a guy who has allowed a high batting average against his fastball this year. 328 is the opponent batting average as he starts Josh Reddick off with a breaking ball.
There's that average Todd is talking about. Saw him get George Springer with the slider there. First pitch breaking ball. Just a traditional curveball, 12-6. Also has a changeup. Doesn't throw it very often.
Last year, that average against the fastball was only 266. But one of the reasons he has been getting hit hard with that fastball is he's just not getting as much chase with his secondary stuff. So a lot of times he's been working behind in the counts and having to come in with a fastball in a hitter's count. 23 walks in his first 11 starts. And he gets Josh Reddick. So Hamill out to a quick start, striking out Springer and Reddick.
Seeing some of the traditional numbers. There's some of the peripherals, or sabermetrics if you like to call them that, is BABIP over the major league average, but that FIP close to that major league average. So that's when you take the defense out of it and just put it strictly on that pitcher. Everything he can control: walks, hit by pitch, home runs, and strikeouts.
Altuve swings to the first pitch and sends it into center field. A couple of strikeouts and a fly ball to center, and the Astros are out in the first. Will send them out this way. Whit Merrifield at the top of the lineup. Jorge Bonifacio will play right field and bat second. Lorenzo Cain in center. Eric Hosmer at first base. Mike Moustakas has done some damage in this series. He hits fifth and plays third. Brandon Moss started the first game of this series back in the DH role. Alex Gordon, Alcides Escobar, and Drew Butera gets a start for Salvador Perez tonight.
Lance McCullers for the Houston Astros. A lot riding on this young man's shoulders. A chance for him to step up and create himself an opportunity with Dallas Keuchel going on the DL. 13th start this season. Beautiful record at 6-1. That 2.71 ERA is awesome also. He's doing a good job of mixing in that changeup. I know he's been working well with Brian McCann, who is behind the plate today. Last time out, scuffled a little bit in Texas. Only went 4 1/3 after showing a pretty good month of May, where he threw 36 1/3 innings and struck out 37.
But Merrifield takes a strike, 0-1. Merrifield had a 19-game hitting streak snapped in the first game of this series, the longest hitting streak this year in the American League. And Lance quickly ahead, 0-2. Lance has had success against these Royals, regular season and postseason. This is a team that if you had to draw it up, you would think Lance should be able to go deep into a game because they chase like that. Merrifield, 3 pitches and a strikeout. McCullers very efficient getting the first out.
The last time Lance faced these guys, he pitched extremely well. He went 7 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, but no walks in a 10 strikeout game for Lance. As we look at the location of this pitch, well out of the zone on our Mattress Firm Supermo. See the delivery, the break, and the swing by Merrifield. That is nice to see for Lance McCullers early.
Now Lance faces Jorge Bonifacio. Takes one inside for a ball, says Corey Blazer. 4-game series. We've seen everybody on this crew get a chance to work the plate. Blazer behind the dish, Jeff Nelson at first, Laz Diaz at second, and Doug Eddings at third. Nelson, the crew chief. 1-0 pitch is inside. It's 2-0. Well, Lance knows what's at stake. It's no secret. He watched last night as the bullpen had to soak up 8 innings. There are a lot of arms that A.J. Hinch wants to give the night off. In a perfect world, Lance can be pitch efficient tonight. He has been better at that this year than he has in his first 2 seasons. His lowest pitch per inning total is this season at 16.5. And that's actually gone up since his last start. Plummer mentioned threw a lot of pitches in that game in Arlington. Now he's 2-2 on Bonifacio.
And just the last couple pitches, we talk about the Kansas City Royals will chase and they'll expand the zone. You just saw it, a 2-0 count, a pitch off the plate, and then 2-1 chasing that fastball in. So if the Royals continue to do that, that will help out Lance McCullers maybe get a little bit deeper in this game, hopefully.
Draw the fewest walks in baseball. No chase on that pitch, which bounced up there about 58 feet from the pitching rubber. So now the count's 3-2 on Bonifacio.
Yeah, if you chase and there's a grass stain on the ball, you're not seeing it very well.
You can barely see pitch 5. It's at the very bottom. That's as low as you can get on that strike zone. And just when we're talking about their lack of patience, Bonifacio draws a walk. He's a 1-out base runner.
Interesting numbers on Lance. Some of his peripheral numbers right around that major league average on BABIP, but it's great to see he has a 2.71 ERA and his FIP is very close to that. That tells you he's highly effective. And we talked about the outcomes that pitchers have control over that the defense can't defend, which are walks, hit by pitch, strikeouts, and home runs. And obviously Lance is a high strikeout guy, and that's why that FIP number is incredibly low.
Strikeouts up, ground balls up. If you're an outfielder when Lance McCullers pitches, you're usually not going to have a busy night.
Yeah, a little bit of a spike in that ground ball percentage for Lance McCullers.
Up to 63.2%. Mix in his ability to pick up strikeouts, and not many balls find their way to Springer, Reddick, tonight. Aoki, 2-0 the count. Lorenzo Cain hitting his 4th home run of the season in this series. And there's that equalizer, the power curve, swing and a miss. It's 2-1.
Ball jumps out of his hand. It looks like a fastball. See the location of this pitch. Hunter M.D. Anderson strike zone, down in the zone, but the way it jumps out of his hand, immediately your brain is telling you fastball, and as you start your swing, the break straight down out of the zone.
At the knees for a strike, 2-2. Bonifacio drew that walk. It was the 143rd walk taken by the Royals offensively. Chicago White Sox are next closest and fewest walks taken. On the ground toward short. Correa, Altuve to Gurriel, and that'll do it. Ground ball percentage works there for a double play to end the inning.
looking at Brian McCann, this Kansas City series, he has been swinging a hot bat in these 2 games. 4 hits last night. That ties a career high for him. He was 4 for 5 with a homer and 2 RBI. It's 2 home runs for him, though, in this series. The first off Ian Kennedy on Monday night here. And those are the first homers from him since coming off that 7-day concussion DL. Hadn't really felt like he was himself at the plate until recently, guys. He said that the at-bats, now that they've been coming along for him, he does feel a lot better. Also, in that game he had the home run on Monday, he shot that ball the other way at a left center field. Felt really good about that because he worked so hard on that. You know, it's just trying to change the ways that he had gotten so comfortable with for so many years. So it's good to see that things are going in the right direction for McCann right now.
Yeah, he really needed this series, and he has come through big time. That's the 13th time in his career he's had a 4-hit game, his first as an Astro. Here's Carlos Correa leading things off. Remember, last year he didn't have back-to-back games in which he hit home runs, so it's good to see him get that out of the way this year. But Julio's right. Using the whole field seems to free his swing up.
It does. It gets you in the right frame of mind because you're letting the ball travel. That means you're seeing the ball a little bit longer, which is nice, and it also creates a little bit of faith in your hands. So you don't get in that no panic mode. You're able to see the ball a little bit longer, which benefits every hitter. But it's trying to avoid that panic situation where you try and go get the baseball. But we also know that the shift has been played against McCann. That has created issues trying to hit through that. So he's opened up some holes going the other way.
1-2 the count to Carlos Correa starting out the second inning, and he does not chase there. That's what we were talking about earlier. The curveball and slider chase percentage way down this year on Jason Hamill than last year. So he's not getting that. Even if he's getting ahead, he's not getting that chase, and now hitters can get back into counts. Right-handers hitting .350 against Hamill this year. And now it's 3-2. So there you go. Correa was down 0-2, and now the count's full. Last year he had a 28.2% chase. This year it's down to 21.7%. And on the top part of the strike zone for a called third strike. Correa, third strikeout victim. Jason Hamill, the first 4 hitters he has faced.
3 out of the 4 hitters have struck out for the Astros. There's a good look at the curveball rotation. See, it starts up out of the hand, and then that break brings it back down just in the top part of that zone.
Correa didn't see that pitch very well, it didn't seem like. You have a start time like this where the pitcher and almost the entire field's in shadows, yet the batter's eye is in sunlight. Can that be distracting?
Yeah, you're seeing it right there, and it's tough. The brightness sometimes doesn't allow you to pick up the rotation on the ball. I think we might be seeing a little bit of the issues that the Astros are having here, striking out 3 times already in the first 4 ABs. But yeah, this reminds me of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was a place like this where they'd have these starts at 7 o'clock, 7:05, but the batting eye would be in the sunlight and nothing else would be, and it really provided a really highlighted bright background, which made it tough to focus on that pitcher who was a little bit darker.
Neither of the teams has scored a run in any of the 8 first innings this series. There have been 4 games. As McCann sends one deep to right field, he's having no trouble with the hitter's background as he hits one off the right center field wall. McCann heading towards second, and he will go in sliding with a 1-out double. Brian McCann, coming off a 4-hit night last night, gets the Astros' first hit tonight.
I appreciate Brian McCann blowing every hole in any theory I just had about the batter's eye, because he squared up this fastball nicely from Jason Hamill. But also, you get yourself an account where you can predict what pitch is coming, and you can put a good swing on it like Brian is. See that 2-seam grip, and that's that 2-seam rotation. What that does is creates a little arm side movement. Sometimes if guys get on top, it'll create a little downward sinker action to it. But a great job by McCann getting around it.
That's what you're talking about with his swing and how it's looked better lately. He was really on that. That was a pitch that was diving away from him, and he handled it nicely.
Well, I tell you what, if he's facing 94, 96, he takes that same pitch and goes to the opposite field gap with it. The reason he got around on it is because 90 to 92 isn't going to blow your doors off. So he has a little bit, that 2 or 3 miles an hour, that allows your barrel to travel just a little bit more to get out in front.
1-0 count to Evan Gattis. Gattis with a lot of success in a limited amount of time. He's got a home run and 3 hits against Jason Hammel and 4 at bats. He's also been hit by a pitch of the Astros who have faced Hammel. Gattis has the best numbers. So he's got his partner in crime on second base in scoring position in Brian McCann. Guys who occasionally get mistaken for each other. 2-1 the count. Hamill's 12th start of the year. Last start was the first time he did not walk a batter. There they are. Pretty close.
Brothers in lumber.
Out back, it's 2-2. McCann's beard is slightly longer, but when they put that helmet on, it's not easy. Actually, with that helmet off.
Yeah, it's not easy either.
Not easy.
The best is when they get off the bus together and walk together. I mean, it's literally twinning. It's great.
And they are next to each other a lot.
Yeah.
In the dugout, in the clubhouse. Got in on Gattis, and he sends a soft pop-up towards Hosmer, who takes it for the second out. A good pitch by Jason Hammel for out number 2. Hosmer likes to take a lot of those pop-ups on the right side. I think Whit Merrifield was saying that was right at me. Hosmer would have an issue if he and Altuve were on the same side of the infield.
Yeah, until he stood next to him. Then he just casually reach above Jose's glove. But yeah, a couple of Kelly leaks on the right side if you had those two guys.
Here's Yuli Gurriel. Yuli's done very well his last 7 starts. Taking a called strike, 0-1. Couple of home runs on this road trip. Yuli has 6 on the year. Mentioned about Hammel with the starting from the stretch. He went to that about 4 or 5 starts ago, and he's kind of closed off when he starts his delivery. That front foot is towards third base and kind of closing off, not quite straight to home plate. A little unusual in the starting point, but it's effective so far as Gurriel sends one to right field and Bonifacio puts it away for the final out. So a 1-out double by Brian McCann, and he is left at second. wrap up their season series. Kansas City has won 4 of the first 6 games. Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound for inning number 2. He'll face Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, and Brandon Moss. Casey didn't check us out right before the game. Roster moved tonight before the Astros played. And Dallas Keuchel goes on the 10-day disabled list for the 2nd time in the last few weeks. And their number 1 prospect, Francis Martez, is in the bullpen for now. Eric Hosmer tries to hold up, but he goes around, says Doug Eddings, 0-1. Last night, the Astros had to use all hands on deck out of the bullpen, and tonight they're hoping Lance McCullers can give them at least 6, maybe 7. He's done that a couple of times against these Kansas City Royals in 3 starts. Gurriel will flip it to McCullers. Nicely done.
It was very nicely done all the way around. League leaders are going to be presented by Houston Methodist, with Lance McCullers on the mound, receiving that throw on a ground ball from Yuli Gurriel. Ground ball percentages, obviously Dallas Keuchel, a very good sinker, changeup, slider mix, gets a ton of ground balls, but it's great for me to see Lance McCullers on that list, doing a very good job of getting punch outs when he needs them, but also using that ground ball to get him out of innings like we just saw in that first inning. Gave up the walk, but proceeded to get a ground ball from Lorenzo Cain, and the guys behind him rolling that double play up. Really nice to see a guy that can pitch to a little bit of contact and still get those outs. That's how you become efficient like Dallas Keuchel.
Keuchel got that double play on the changeup, and we're seeing his fastball percentage stay around the same, but more changeups and fewer curveballs in the month of May when he was so effective.
And you know what? Lance throwing his changeup 90 to 91 miles an hour is a sinker for most other pitchers. So it kind of gives you an idea of how effective it can be, getting it just off the end of the bat. Maybe get some ground balls. Worked out nicely.
That last pitch to Moustakas, he missed by a good margin on the changeup. Lance ahead 0-2.
Well, going back to that start, obviously we'd have to look up some of the numbers, but I'd be willing to bet that that was around that time that Lance McCullers was 50-50 fastball breaking ball.
I've got some numbers as McCann throws it down to Gurriel. The curveball usage in April for McCullers 52.1%. In May 38.6%.
So this is a Royals team that might be seeing a little bit different Lance McCullers, and that's that changeup that Todd is referencing. Throwing that pitch a little more often, but that is phenomenal depth. When I talk about depth, I talk about a pitch that goes from north to south, down out of the zone.
Able to get ahead of Moustakas with a changeup and put him away with the curveball. Here's Brandon Moss fouling one back. It's 0-1. So far, McCullers has fit the bill. 3 groundouts and 2 strikeouts. Moss started on Monday night, getting the 2nd start of this series, and he's behind in the count, 0-2. Saw Dallas Keuchel on that graphic with ground ball percentage. Dallas joins Charlie Morton and Joe Musgrove, starters on the DL currently for the Astros. And don't forget about Colin McHugh, who started the year on the DL. Astros are hopeful Musgrove will come off that disabled list soon. 1-2 pitches up and away. It's 2-2.
A little bit of a progression for Lance McCullers and that ground ball. Under 50% when we first saw him. Gradually working his way up through until this season.
Swing and a miss. Moss goes down. McCann will once again have to make the throw to first, which he does. Lance picks up 2 more strikeouts. He has 3 in the game and a 1-2-3 inning.
Old Faithful for Lance McCullers. The power curve down gets him out of that inning. Tied up and a 2. presented by Chick-fil-A, is returning to Minute Maid Park this Saturday. Enjoy a post-game concert featuring Mercy Me and live testimony from Lance McCullers Jr. and his wife, Kara. Visit Astros.com/faith for more info. I'm also happy to tell everybody that I will be emceeing that event for the Houston Astros and talking to Lance McCullers about that, so I'm pretty excited.
Good deal.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Mercy Me, good band.
Forward to that as Alex Bregman leads things off and takes a pitch for a ball from Jason Hamill, 1-0. Bregman coming in with a .249 batting average. Has 3 home runs on this road trip. Alex doubling up his total during this 11-day, 10-game swing. Astros back home tomorrow. We mentioned they would see the entire AL West in the next 5 series. Line drive into center field for a base hit. Bregman leads off the 3rd with a single to center.
Little change in the uni going with the high pants too. I like it. It's a game of adjustments, and sometimes that uniform is a part of it. Because Alex has a very simple swing. He was out early taking some BP. Again, going with the optional BP for the Houston Astros, but he was out there with Jose Altuve working on things. Dave Hudgens was videotaping, so it's good to see him putting in the hard work and getting something out of it. In the last 7 games, he was hitting a .105.
Julia had a good report yesterday about the optional hitting during this road trip, and she mentioned that Jose Altuve was pretty much always there. It wasn't really optional for him, but Bregman's another guy who's really been present pretty much every day during the optional BP on the field. Here's Nori Aoki. Takes a pitch for a ball, 1-0. Aoki 3 for his last 10, has hit in the last 3 games, and the number he wears on his back is exactly how many hits shy he is of the 2,000 hit plateau between the Nippon Professional Baseball League and the major leagues. Chops one towards first. That's a foul ball. It's 1-1. Astros coming in playing exactly .700 baseball despite losing the last 2 games. 42-18 through 60. They're one of 31 teams in the history of Major League Baseball to go 42-18 through the first 60. So despite the 2-game losing streak, they're still in some pretty rare company. Last 2 teams to accomplish that. 2016 Cubs, who Jason Hamill pitched for, and the 2001 Seattle Mariners, who ended up with 116 wins. Speaking of the Mariners, there you see them in 2nd place. They have won 5 straight to get to an even 500 on the season.
If anybody's hanging out on that ledge, that's the good news, that the Astros have a huge cushion. But also last night, Seattle Mariners were the only team in the West to win, so not much ground being made up, even though the Astros are struggling a little bit right here.
Runner on the move, Bregman. And Nori Aoki hit it hard, retired by Eric Hosmer for out number 1.
If that was a hit and run, that was the 3rd time this year that Aoki's been asked to do the hit and run. Not a bad guy to do with it. He handles the bat well. Bregman, smart base runner.
Here's George Springer. Springer struck out his first time up. Hamill with 3 strikeouts. Picked up 3 strikeouts the first 4 batters he faced. George sends one to right field. Bonifacio back. He's at the track and he makes the play. Tagging now is Alex Bregman. He will get to 3rd.
George hit that a little bit further than I anticipated. I thought he got this one a little bit off the end of the bat, but gives you a good idea of how strong he is, even not squaring it up, able to drive it to the warning track. Alex does a good job of leaking out in anticipation of that ball being down, but once he recognized that Bonifacio was going to make the catch, has enough speed to get back and tag. Textbook with 1 out.
So here's Josh Reddick. Chance to put the Astros on the board with a little 2-out base hit here. Reddick struck out his first time up. Josh has reached in 15 straight games. And he takes a breaking ball from Hamill for a called strike, 0-1. Mentioned the Astros will see a lot of the American League West. Angels and Rangers first 2 games in on this next homestand. Angels Friday through Sunday, Rangers Monday through Wednesday. Off day Thursday, and then the Red Sox come to Minute Maid Park the following weekend. After that, the Astros go out on the road and they'll see Josh Reddick's former team, the Oakland Athletics, followed by the Seattle Mariners. So there you see the homestand, Angels and Rangers in there, and then the next road trip will include the A's and the Mariners. So they'll be looking square in the eye of their AL West opponents, and right now everybody chasing Houston at least a dozen games or more back. Mariners have picked up a couple of games. Astros' biggest lead this year was 14. On the ground, Hosmer makes the play and races to the bag to beat Reddick. So the Astros will leave 1. We are through 2.5, still scoreless.
By Kubota, Lance McCullers, 3 career starts versus these Kansas City Royals. Has a 1-0 record, 2.66 ERA. That opponent batting average you see with the swings and misses adds up to a 171 average. Doing a very good job with that fastball curveball combination to begin with in those 3 starts. Now has an opportunity to mix in that changeup to create some swings and misses. He's got 3 so far in this ball game, looking to go deep against the Kansas City Royals.
In the 2 regular season appearances, he's gone at least 7 both times. Postseason appearance went 6 1/3. So hopefully he carries forward on that, facing Alex Gordon, Alcides Escobar, and Drew Butera. 7-8-9 ground ball past McCullers, but right there is Carlos Correa in the shift. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 3rd. Julia?
Guys on Lance McCullers and that fastball changeup combo that he looks so good with and looks so comfortable with at this point after having a really good month of May. We're asking, you know, is that who you are now? Is this what you do now? And he said, I would love to be the guy that throws a ton of them, but it really depends on the team and it depends on the matchups. So there's a lot of that. He said that there are a couple of new guys in this lineup that are good changeup candidates. We'll have to see tonight, but this is a guy that's still learning and figuring it out. But it almost seems like he could be 2 different kinds of pitchers at this point.
No, that's good stuff, and I think it is part of the maturation process for Lance McCullers. Anytime you can add that 3rd pitch to your repertoire you're going to have some success keeping hitters off balance, and that's what it's about. Keep them off balance, keep them off the barrel. But we talked about it earlier. I believe it was in the open, talking about Lance is one of the better guys with 2 strikes and 2 outs. He has that little bit of a thread running through him that really wants to go out and put people away.
2-1 the count on Alcides Escobar. McCullers has struck out 3. The rest of the outs are on the ground tonight. Walked 1 and retired that runner on a double play to the next hitter. There's one, and McCullers with a jumping grab on 1 hop makes the play to first. Nice defense shown by the young right-hander. 2 outs.
Get up, kid. Good reaction. Great play. Help your own cause. Learn a lot by watching Dallas Keuchel, who gets a high percentage of ground balls, be in position to help your own cause.
Drew Butera, the batter. Fouls one at the plate, 0-1. Butera getting a start tonight because Salvador Perez has a little bit of a sore left thumb on the glove side. Took a foul tip in last night's game. And McCullers gets Butera to send one into center field. A very low pitch count in that inning of just 7 pitches needed for Lance McCullers to get 3 outs. We are through 3. Lance has thrown 31 pitches.
Astro poll. Follow us on Twitter at Root Sports SW to find it. It's our pinned tweet. We ask you which non-Bagwell trade is the most productive in team history. Mike Scott, Randy Johnson, Moises Alou, or Carlos Beltran was traded from the Royals to the Astros in 2004.
At Root Sports SW. I think
the Brandon Backey trade doesn't get in there.
Oh, they didn't have room for a 5th choice.
I'm kidding. That was an epic trade to clear payroll. Those are good trades right there. All those guys had a pretty good impact.
I like the fact that we have to distinguish a non-Bagwell trade because the Larry Anderson, Jeff Bagwell
was a little lopsided.
And Larry hears about it so often. We'll see him later this year when the Astros are in Philadelphia. Boston needed a reliever. He actually had a good year that year, but
we can ask him what it's like to be traded for a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm sure that hasn't happened this year. Ground ball towards short. Escobar on a few hops, and Altuve is retired for the first out of the 4th inning. Here are the trades, just to refresh your memory. Astros fans probably remember most of these trades. Mike Scott for Danny Heap from the New York Mets. Mike Scott coming to the Astros, and then
trade.
Heap going to the Mets. The Mariners was right before the trade deadline of 1998. Freddie Garcia, Carlos Guillen, and John Halama. Moises Alou from the Marlins. Manuel Barrios, Mark Johnson, Oscar Enriquez, and then Carlos Beltran. It was a 3-team trade, so Octavio Dotel and John Buck. Dotel went to the A's, Buck went to the Royals. Those are your choices. That is our Stro poll tonight. Best non-Bagwell trade. Carlos Correa trying to snap an 0 for 8, struck out looking his first time up. Hamill gets in on him, maybe breaks his bat on the foul ball. It's 0-2.
They emptied the cart on the Randy Johnson trade.
Yep.
Freddie Garcia was a very good pitcher. Carlos Guillen, a very good shortstop. Halama had a good career, left-handed pitcher, pitched for a while. He was a teammate of mine in Tampa.
So Niekro more productive as an Astro than the big unit.
The unit didn't have much time. But a good call. Fans out there doing their research. Niekro was a purchase or a cash involved type trade.
Another broken bat. This one stays fair, and Hosmer will make the play himself. He could catch the ball while standing on the bag. There's some other notable trades in Astros history that not quite make the list. You were right about Niekro for cash. Jose Cruz also for cash. Mike Hampton for Eric Anthony. And Kevin Bass for Don Sutton.
Still can't make the list.
Even with the extra notables.
Now Brandon Backey's got to be on there.
There's one I was looking at today, which is interesting because the Astros' #1 prospect is up and a major leaguer for the first time in his career. Ryan McCann bats with 2 outs and nobody on. Francis Martez was acquired from the Marlins along with Colin Moran, Jake Marisnick, and a competitive balance round A pick. Ended up being Derek Fisher.
Wow.
For Jared Kosar, Kike Hernandez, and Austin Waits. McCann into center field and played there by Lorenzo Cain. So both pitchers dealing early. We're through 3.5. No score. Astros with 2 hits, no runs. Kansas City has had 9 hitters face Lance McCullers through 3 innings. Only 1 base runner. Jorge Bonifacio walked, and he was erased on a double play. So Lance will face the top of the order here in the bottom half of the 4th inning with a very efficient 31 pitches through 3. Merrifield struck out swinging his first time up. 1 of 3 strikeouts for McCullers. And there's a ball towards the middle, and now Altuve nicely on the one-hop backhand, and there's one away.
Good positioning on that shift. Playing Merrifield a little bit to the pull side. At first, I thought that ball was hit pretty hard, but Altuve, Johnny on the spot.
Lance has taken advantage of a very aggressive team. He has the first 10 outs in 32 pitches, and now he'll face Jorge Bonifacio. Mentioned Dallas Keuchel going to the disabled list today with Francis Martez in the bullpen. Julia, do you have any update on the DL situation with Joe Musgrove?
I have good news actually for Joe Musgrove. Wanted to throw that bullpen so they could see how he felt, that shoulder discomfort that he was having, some soreness. Everything was good today. So now everything's up to tomorrow. You know, it's how he wakes up, how that shoulder feels. He said, you know, soreness is to be expected, but it was a light day for him, so it shouldn't be too much. But he is looking forward to get out there Monday. He thinks that he'll be ready to go. Of course, the team will announce who is starting on that Monday.
Yeah, it looks like David Paulino now will get to start Sunday. And that was originally going to be the spot that possibly Joe Musgrove could have taken. But now with Dallas Keuchel on the DL, the Astros will need a starter for Monday's game. So Paulino knows he'll make a 3rd start of the season and 4th overall in his career. This weekend, the Astros will have Brad Peacock Friday, Mike Fiers Saturday, and David Paulino on Sunday. There is Fiers, who has pitched well in his last 2 starts. 1-2 the count on Jorge Bonifacio. And he chases that one. He goes down swinging for strikeout number 4 for McCullers. DL's filling up with starters, Blummer.
Yeah, it is, and hopefully Dallas Keuchel is similar to last time he was on, just missing that 1 start, able to come back. Be great to get Joe Musgrove back on that bump. Those are the guys you want to have in that rotation. Tough times right now for the Houston Astros, but again, only lost 2 games. Hopefully that they can shorten those losing streaks like they have all year long.
You saw both Musgrove and Morton retroactive to May 27th. That was day 3 of the 11-game winning streak. So obviously the Astros wish those guys were healthy all year long, but in their absence, they kept winning games. That's a credit to the guys like Brad Peacock and David Paulino, who have filled in. Paulino did his work the other night. Unfortunately, the winning streak snapped on his start because the Astros bullpen could not hold a 7-1 lead.
Talked about the bullpen after that game. Wasn't necessarily that one game that defined that loss. It was all the games leading up to that, because we know that A.J. Hinch has been doing a good job of trying to back up Peacock, Musgrove, Fiers, and those guys with that bullpen, and they just happened to be a little bit fatigued, and they got exposed during that one game. Makes it tough when you've got 3 guys in your rotation that are going to definitely need some help out of that bullpen earlier than a Lance McCullers or Dallas Keuchel.
Counts 0-2 on Kane, 2 outs and nobody on. It'll be interesting to see how and when Francis Martez gets into a game. Right now, he's kind of the insurance policy as the long man in the bullpen, with yesterday's game where the bullpen covered 8 innings. The Astros also know he is their prized prospect. They don't want him to wait too long. He was scheduled to start last night for AAA Fresno. And does he get a start at the big league level? Will it be a long relief outing? He's got an electric fastball, Blummer.
Has a very good fastball. We saw flashes of brilliance with that breaking ball too. It'd be a nice secondary pitch for him. Hasn't been the greatest of starts coming out of spring training for Francis Martez, but I think they're ignoring the numbers and looking at the talent and the ability.
And like Ramin Gudwan, who was up earlier, a guy who throws very hard, for Martez, it's all about strike zone. He has not had great command this year.
And the situation, him being called up over maybe some other relievers and putting a a potential starter in the bullpen is because he's been stretched out. It was a pretty good pitch, but he's been stretched out. So if AJ needs multiple innings, that's the guy that can give them multiple innings. How good was that pitch?
Ooh, ring him up.
About as good as it can be, right?
That was beautiful. 2-2 pitches right back to McCullers. He's fielding like Keuchel tonight. 3 outs, 1-2-3 inning for Lance, and we are through 4 scoreless. Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Jack in the Box. Come try the sweet or spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger combo for $4.99. Limited time only. On to the 5th we go. There is Francis Martez in a Major League uniform during the regular season for the first time in his career. Michael Feliz and Dion Diaz discussing the fact that he's a big leaguer for the first time on a Major League roster. He was with the Astros this spring, and he has pitched out of the bullpen only in spring training. As Evan Gattis takes a pitch from Jason Hamill for a ball, it's 1-0. Pitchers have dominated so far tonight. Only 2 hits in this game, both by the Astros, a double by Brian McCann and a single by Alex Bregman. Gattis on the ground, foul. Gattis popped up his first time up. Hamill, 34-year-old, started his career in the American League with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in 2006 before they became the Rays in 08. Then in 09 he was with Colorado, then the Baltimore. Back and forth from the National League to the American League. Fly ball to center field, and Gattis is retired for the 2nd time tonight. Julia?
Shiner light blonde spotlight falls on Yuli Gurriel. He's been sort of an RBI machine lately. Check this out. First 43 games, 15 ribbies. His last 7 he's driven in 12. He's put up a few home runs too. He had one Sunday and then the 3-run home run off Herrera right here at the K. Good when he gets going, though. This is when the club was playing, or when the offense was really hot, as the bottom of the order got going, including Yuli, Bregman, some of those guys. So hopefully that's where this is going again, guys.
Yeah, it's rare to see the Astros zeros through the first 4 innings. Yuli flied out to right his first time up. Those last 7 games, Julia referenced, he's hitting .393 coming into tonight. There's a strike. It's 1-1.
Give you another pretty good idea of the damage done in a short amount of time. 28 ABs, 12 RBIs.
There are some guys that have put up monster road trip numbers. Yuli, one of them, with 10 runs batted in on this trip. That is second to Carlos Correa's 13 runs batted in on the trip. Springer also has 10. On the ground, Escobar from deep short. Bounces the throw. Gurriel out. Eight in a row retired by Jason Hamill.
Almost turned into a hit for Gurriel with as hard as he was running. He's actually got great numbers with 2 strikes on him. He's leading the league as far as well hit average at $161. The major league average is .095, so he's never out of an AB. Usually he likes to get out of there after the first pitch, but if he does get deep, he's still putting together some solid ABs with 2 strikes.
And that's been an issue for Jason Hamill this year, the 2-strike situations. Bregman to deep center field. Kane all the way back, makes the play in front of the wall in straightaway center. Well, Bregman gave it a good ride, but he is retired for the final out of the inning. 9 in a row sent down by Hamill. We're scoreless.
MLB.com at Bat mobile app. Customize the app for the Astros and get awesome stuff all season by subscribing to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at Bat today, the #1 app for live Astros baseball. Todd.
All right, Julia. Your Stros poll is getting a lot of responses tonight. We thank everybody for their votes as Lance McCullers deals with Eric Hosmer. Misses the zone on that first pitch, 1-0. Hosmer grounded out his first time up. And another ground ball, this one to Altuve's right. Got another ground ball out for Lance McCullers. Of the 13 outs, he has 4 strikeouts, 1 fly ball. And the rest are ground outs.
That is a true statement. And a great guy. We've been lucky to have him in the booth. It's always a good conversation. Pitched in some crucial games for the Houston Astros and really played through that. Really a golden era for the Houston Astros in the 80s.
Ball strike to Mike Moustakas, 0-1. Moustakas was a strikeout victim on the curveball his first time up. One of our viewers brought up another trade with the Baltimore Orioles. Astros slugger Glenn Davis brought back a pretty healthy return. There you see the mix for Lance McCullers. The ground out to fly out, 8-1 tonight. He leads the American League in that category, 4.36-1 coming in. And now it's 1-2.
Who came back? Kurt Schilling, Steve Finley,
Pete Harnish.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Davis was able to bring back that kind of haul based on the years he had with the Astros.
No doubt.
Moustakas stays alive at 1-2. Royals have had one base runner. Jorge Bonifacio walked on a 3-2 pitch as the second batter of the game. He was erased on a double play. Out at the plate, it's 1-2.
Well, it was Dory, I think, in Finding Nemo that said just keep swimming. I think the Royals theory is just keep swinging.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
And with Lance McCullers Jr., that's usually a good recipe because he can get some chases. There we go. Blocked by McCann. McCann's had a few of those strikeouts where he's picked them up on short hops in the dirt because that curveball has been a nasty weapon tonight. 5 strikeouts for Lance.
Power curveball. It's going to sound crazy even though it ended up being a strike. That's not one of the better curveballs we've seen from Lance McCullers. It's just the effectiveness of knowing how nasty it is entices that swing and miss.
So here's Brandon Moss. Moustakas twice and Moss the last time up have struck out on pitches that bounced at home plate. Moss went down on that curveball. Lance gets a high percentage of his strikeouts via the curveball. There's a rocket, but on one hop into the shift for Carlos Correa. We are through 5. Astros and the Royals still scoreless.
Our Chevy Stroh poll about some of the best trades in Astros history. Moises getting some love in our Stroh poll. So we're taking a look at some of the highlights from his few seasons with the Houston Astros. He was pretty impressive, guys.
No, Moises was a very good hitter. No batting gloves, barely even a load on it when he started his swing, and he could drive through the baseball and literally muscle him out of the ballpark. It was pretty impressive. He was fun to watch. Not fun to play third base against, though.
No, those Rockets would jump on you in a hurry. Highlights you saw of Moises Alou versus the Rangers 16 years ago today. Here's Norichika Aoki taking a pitch outside and high for ball 1. Aoki grounded out his first time up, and that started a string of 9 in a row sent down by Jason Hamill. Hamill's gone through a stretch here of 5 straight starts where he's allowed at least 3 runs in all of his starts. 3, 4, 3, 5, and 6 as you work backwards. A lot of attention being focused on Nori Aoki. He's around the bunt and takes it for ball 2. Golden Players Club awaits Nori Aoki when he gets 3 hits. That is Japan's equivalent of the Hall of Fame. And he's ahead of the count 3-0. So Hamill, who at times has struggled this year with his command, has been around the plate tonight. He's behind Aoki 3-0. Hamill needed just 53 pitches through 5. McCullers just 54. Both pitchers are on point tonight. Now Aoki takes a strike after running up, and it's 3-1. Double by McCann in the second, a single by Bregman in the third, and that's it for the Astros. On the ground foul, and it's 3-2. Nori's handled the attention well, but you know when you're asked about it every single night that you're going to start thinking about that milestone on almost every at bat. And there is a base hit to left field. Aoki now 2 away. Nori a leadoff base runner in the 6th inning. 3rd hit for the Astros.
Two more. Good job staying on that sinker, running away from him. In true Nori fashion, just this little slap and run. He's on base paths.
Make-you-kai is the entrance into the Make-you-kai. Translates to the Golden Players Club. May happen in Kansas City. If not, the Astros are home for 9 games after tonight. Top of the order, George Springer. Springer has struck out and flied out. George with a 12-game hitting streak, hitting .436 during that stretch. You mentioned a lot of guys are having good road trips. Jose Altuve has 17 hits on this trip, and he's second to that guy who has 19 hits on this trip.
And Altuve is the greatest road hitter ever.
Some of George's have gone a long way too. He has 5 home runs on this trip, including one that went 473 feet in Minnesota. Fouls one back, and it's 0-1.
I think he was only trying to hit that one 450.
3rd time through the lineup.
Here we go.
Now, during this stretch, and the Astros finally had a game last night where they only scored 5. I say only scored 5. They had a stretch there where they had 9 straight games of at least 6 runs or more before last night. So being shut out in the 6th inning is unfamiliar territory. Up high, it's 1-1. Royals have scored 213 runs on the season. The Astros have scored 331. Yankees are the next closest in the American League, and they're 25 runs behind. There's a strike, 1-2. Mentioned Hamill back and forth between the National League and the American League. Tonight our theme is trades. He was dealt from the Cubs in 2014 to the A's. That's the last time he faced the Astros, was a member of the Oakland A's. Springer goes down swinging. Hamill picks up strikeout number 4 in his first since the 4th batter of the game.
Hamill's likes that slider to right-handed hitters, especially with 2 strikes. I talk about it quite a bit. We talked about it the other telecast, how when you see a pitcher elevate, watch the next pitch, possibly down in the zone, and that's what happened. The previous pitch before this was a fastball up in the zone that George took for a ball. Sometimes that pitch is used to set up the breaking ball down.
Here's Josh Reddick, a strikeout and a ground out. There goes Aoki, breaking ball, smash past Hosmer into right field. Aoki will head to third. Reddick with the Astros' second hit of the inning in the 4th of the ball game. And now the Astros have runners on first and third and 1 away.
I love being a left-handed hitter with that right side open with the runner being held on. Take advantage of it just like Josh Reddick did. Aoki on the move. See the big hole on the right side. It's something you can hit hard to the right side past that first baseman drawn in. Nicely done.
And now here's Jose Altuve. Altuve has flied out and grounded out to shortstop. Infield is back in the middle, trying to turn 2 in on the corners. And Altuve sends one foul off the right field side. 0-1. Altuve 17 for 39 on this road trip. Coming into this game batting .459 on the trip. One and one. Now Hamill ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Earlier you were talking about Yuli Gurriel's ability to hit with 2 strikes. That's an area Hamill has struggled with this year. Opponents are hitting .246 against Hamill in 2-strike situations. That's the 9th highest amongst American League starters.
Been very good with runners in scoring position, holding opponents to a .220 average. That might be a balk.
A balk is called, and the Astros have the run, the game's first run. Aoki's going to trot in from third on a balk. Houston leads 1-0.
Saw this the other day. Little hesitation, and then he fumbled going into the glove to try and throw a pickoff throw at Josh Reddick, and in doing so steps off without the throw. That enables the balk to be called.
Not a lot of scoring opportunities tonight, and a balk gives the Astros the first run of the game.
So a run scores and a runner moves into scoring position.
Now after being ahead of Altuve 1-2, it's 2-2. A costly fumble of the baseball and a pickoff attempt gives the Astros the lead. Into center field, Kane comes in. Lorenzo makes the play for out number 2.
Slow down the fumble. His hand gets caught on the outside of his glove.
Astros will take it. It would have been interesting had that play developed with first and third, because Kane was coming in, and not sure if the Astros would have tested Lorenzo or not on that line drive to center. Moot point now, though, as the balk scored Norioki, and here's Carlos Correa. Carlos coming in 6th in the American League in RBIs with a team leading 40.
He is determined to get Josh, isn't he?
Sure why you would be overly concerned, although Josh does run occasionally. He's 3 of 5. On the ground towards second. Merrifield. And the Astros score 1 run in the inning on a balk. Houston leading 1-0. In Kansas City, Missouri, where the Astros will try and wrap up this road trip with a W, get out of town with a series split, and head back to Houston with an 8-2 road trip. There's been a pitcher's duel so far. Only a balk committed by Jason Hamill has scored the game's only run. Lance McCullers Jr. has faced the minimum through 5 as he deals with the bottom third of the order. Alex Gordon, Alcides Escobar, and Drew Butera. Gordon grounded out his first time up. Around the bunt, takes a called strike.
Shift on. Alex Bregman playing a shallow shortstop. Gordon struggling. Give it a shot. You'll hear a lot of teams that shift ask their guys to lay down that bunt. They want them to find a way on base, whether it's via the walk or the bunt. But I just have a hard time believing that it's easy for a guy like Alex Gordon to lay down that bunt, having never really had to do it.
Slice foul the other way. It's 1-2. It is a 1-0 game, so you're trying to get on any way possible. There are people that take exception when your team's looking for that first knock to a bunt situation, but I understand it. It's 1-2. And he goes down swinging. Lance with his 6th strikeout. Colors has retired 14 in a row.
Well, that's a good way to get retribution, is to take advantage of that strike.
Join us this Sunday for the Astros Foundation Picnic in the Park, presented by Pluckers. Enjoy a picnic-style buffet, games, and autograph session on the field, as proceeds will benefit youth baseball and softball in the Houston area. Visit astros.com/picnic or call 1-877-9-ASTROS for more info. Here is Alcides Escobar, who grounded out his first time up. McCullers with 6 strikeouts of his 16 outs. 9 ground ball outs and 1 fly out. 1-1 the count.
Wiffle ball changeup with a swinging strike.
Lance has thrown 60 pitches, 1 out into the 6th. Jason Hamlin not too shabby either. 71 pitches through 6. He's averaging less than 12 pitches per inning. Lance has gone at 7 innings twice this season, once against Kansas City back at Minute Maid Park back on April 9th, and also against the Angels in Anaheim. Shot foul off the bat of Escobar. It's 1-2.
I might go with an opposite field shift against Escobar, the way he's been swinging the bat in this series.
Snapped an 0 for 17 last night with a couple of base hits to right field. First time Lance has pitched in this stadium. All 3 of his previous starts against Kansas City have come in Houston. Missed the inside corner. It's 2-2. Now the count's full. Lance has only had 2 full counts in this game. Jorge Bonifacio back in the first, and now Alcides Escobar in the 6th. And like Bonifacio, Lance walks Escobar. He's a 1-out base runner. Escobar normally a heavy chase guy, but he laid off that 3-2 breaking ball. There you go.
My goodness, are you kidding me? That was a borderline pitch, too.
I think everybody was shocked he took that, including his own dugout.
Did he get the baseball?
That's pretty good. Here's Drew Butera, flying out to center his first time up. He's the only hitter on the Royals who has been retired on a fly ball tonight. Runner on the move, and he pops one foul down the right field side. Reddick a long run near the tarp. He leans over and can't make the play. Good effort by Josh.
Can't believe he didn't go to the top turnbuckle for that one.
He had a little more time. He may have been able to jump on top of that tarp.
Kind of a cool look at it. Just into that first row. If that tarp's not there and Josh is able to get over there and give it a leaping shot, he may have gotten pretty close.
Pitch away, 1-1. Butera getting a start for Salvador Perez, nursing a bit of a thumb injury. Just 47 at bats on the year for Drew Butera. Holds up. It's 2-1. Couple of walks in this game. The only base runners for Ned Yost's Kansas City Royals. That was Alcides Escobar's 6th walk of the year in 225 at bats. Out of play. It's 2-2. McCullers gets Butera swinging. Strikeout number 7. And his 2nd strikeout of the inning. Like that fastball ran in on Butera a little bit.
Yeah, it did. He's got very good arm side run. It's pretty impressive. You talk about spin rates on curveballs. You can also talk about spin rates on fastballs too. That was a 2-seam fastball running to that arm side for Lance McCullers at 95, but you got to have a pretty high spin rate on release to have it move that much with that short amount of time because of the velocity.
Now back to the top of the order in Whit Merrifield. Merrifield has struck out and grounded out. Colors calls time.
Here's a little bit of a graphic. The first 6 starts for Lance McCullers, kind of a yard sale with that fastball, trying to locate it. We know he went to the breaking ball because of the comfort, but on the right-hand side, you see getting much better command in off the plate to right-handed hitters. And that is away to left-handed hitters. That's all of his fastballs in those last 6 starts, but I think he's done a much better job of getting command of that fastball, and I think it was being implored by Brent Strom to get heavy on the fastball to set up the other off-speed pitches. But you see he's been quite effective because it ties up getting in on the hands of right-handed hitters and stays away from left-handed hitters.
First 6 starts, opposition was hitting .235 against the fastball of Lance McCullers. Last 6, .133. And the slugging percentage first 6 starts, .559, and the slugging percentage his last 6 starts also .133. So just singles allowed on the fastball his last 6. 4 extra base hits allowed in his last half-dozen starts. They have come against the curve or the changeup, not the fastball. Ground ball towards third. 2 hops for Bregman. He'll throw across in time. You have some friends that may not be watching Astros baseball tonight. You may want to send them a text. 1-0 Houston. The Houston Astros, pretty good numbers.
Yeah, he was pretty electric. Power mullet on the mound and a power slider to put hitters away. Good stuff. He was a nice late season addition. If it wasn't for Kevin Brown in San Diego, the Astros would have made a run at the Yankees there in 1998. He was kind of tall too, especially next to Brad Ausmus.
Many feel the best Astros team, that '98 team. They were outstanding. Reason we're showing you Randy Johnson, he's part of our Stro poll tonight. We'll remind you about the choices in a little while as Brian McCann leads off the 7th. Astros leading 1-0. Houston with all 4 hits in this game. McCann taking a called strike. It's 1-1. Our Stro poll involves the best Astros trade, not counting the Jeff Bagwell deal. In case you missed it earlier, we'll show you the choices. You can vote at Root Sports SW. 1-1 in the dirt. It's 2-1. McCann followed by Evan Gattis and Yuli Gurriel. Had some funny tweets about the McCann and Gattis combo, huh?
Apparently there was a
wrestling
duo, the Bushwhackers.
Yeah.
Somebody actually went as far to Photoshop their heads onto one of those. It was pretty good. So feel free to get on my feed and check a couple of those out. They were impressive.
At Blummer 27, if you don't already follow him. 2-1 pitch rather is fouled over the Astros dugout. It's 2-2. Here are your choices. Mike Scott trade with the Mets, the Randy Johnson deal with the Mariners, the Moises Alou deal with the Marlins, and Carlos Beltran, of course, since we're here in Kansas City.
We've got some heavy traffic too. A lot of fans enjoying this Stroh poll. Keep it up. You got 20 more minutes, and then we're cutting everybody off.
Polls are closing soon. 1,100 votes in already. 2-2 the count. Jason Hamill started this inning with 71 pitches through 6. Lance McCullers Jr. 72 pitches through 6. Both pitchers have been very effective with their pitch count. A dozen pitches per inning so far, or less barely by Hamill's account. Here's one of the more extended at bats for the Astros. McCann seeing his 6th pitch for the AB, and he's going to see another one. Like the at bats we're seeing in this series by Brian McCann. McCann is 7 for 11 in this series, including a couple of home runs. Starting 3 of the 4 games against Kansas City. Staying alive again. With that home run he hit last night, moved into 10th place all by himself amongst catchers with 240 home runs. Broke a tie with Roy Campanella. And the longest at bat of this game against Jason Hamill. McCann keeps fouling off 2 strike pitches.
And he just got a little bit too quick on that. You can see in his eyes he saw that pitch pretty good. He's been very balanced. Foot's down on time.
On the ground. Second big hop for Hosmer. He makes the play for out number 1 in the 7th. Well, if you're AJ Hinch right now, you'd obviously like to see a little more offense, but you're thrilled, borderline ecstatic with what you've seen from Lance McCullers so far. Lance threw in his last start against the Rangers 96 pitches in 4 1/3 innings. He's at 72 pitches after 6 tonight. And a night where the bullpen needed a breather. Pretty impressive to watch. Gaddis has popped up and flied to center. And another pop up. Is it playable? Hosmer is going to give it a look, and he has room. Second out of the inning.
It's already time, baseball fans. The 2017 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Head to Astros.com/vote to choose your All-Star Game worthy stars and send them to the All-Star Game on July 11th in Miami, presented by MasterCard. Just a little over a month.
Yeah, we're getting there. Today's the 8th of June. All-Star Game in Miami this year. Yuli Gurriel with 2 outs and nobody on. Yuli takes a called strike. All-Star Game will be July 11th, so a month and 3 days away. Only one time this year has Jason Hamill pitched 7 innings, and that was pretty much a game where the Royals bullpen was depleted and they needed him to take some innings because he gave up 7 runs on 13 hits in those 7 innings against the Rays at Tropicana Field. His next longest outing, 6 2/3 in his last start against Cleveland. But he felt like he found something in his last start, and it seems to be paying off tonight. He has been very effective on the mound for Kansas City. On the ground towards second. Only a balk by Hamill has allowed the Astros to score tonight. He's gone through 7 with 4 hits allowed and 1 run.
Luxury suite at the ballpark. Reserve a suite and create a premium experience your group is sure to remember by visiting astros.com/suites or calling 1-877-9-ASTROS. Lance McCullers Jr. going back to work with a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the 7th. And catching up with him before this particular start, he talked a lot about how his body felt good right now. The arm felt good, which is great for a couple of reasons. One, because of what's going on with the starting rotation on this team. But 2, the way Lance came into the season was on a well thought out program, guys, to get his body ready so he could stay on the field all season long. That's been tough for him in the past couple of seasons to have to miss out on parts of the year. But he said, you know, still learning my body, still learning what it is, where I need to tinker my routine so that I can feel as fresh as I can every 5th day.
Well, that's good stuff, Julian. How about the mechanics, too? We heard a lot about Lance McCullers in spring training, really trying to refine the mechanics, too. And I think that's a part of being a young pitcher in the big leagues, is learning how to, number one, be in shape and get ready for a long season, but also having the mechanics that allow you to repeat them for 30 to 35 starts, which everybody wants to see out of Lance.
And it'll be great to see him push the 200-inning plateau this year for the first time. Lance made 22 starts his rookie year, also 5 starts at Corpus Christi in 2015, and last year with the injuries 14 starts. Tonight his 12th start on the ground towards Bregman. Bonifacio retired for the first out of the 7th inning. Of the 19 outs, McCullers has 7 strikeouts, 11 groundouts, and only 1 fly ball out.
Showed you the heat map earlier on the fastball, but how about some statistics to back up those dirty dozen starts? The first 6 on the left-hand side, the last 6 on the right-hand side. The ERA getting extremely good. The opponent batting average is doing great because Lance now has 3 pitches that he can miss barrels with, and he's using the defense behind him. But the interesting number is that strikeout to walk ratio dropping a little bit as far as the strikeout is concerned, yet the opponent average and the ERA getting considerably better.
Mentioned that batting average against the fastball is at an all-time low in his last 6 starts, just 133. Lorenzo Cain, the batter. Cain grounded into a double play and grounded back to Lance McCullers. Now it's 2-0. McCullers has allowed a 1st inning walk and a 6th inning walk. And only 1 ball out of the infield, and that was a fly ball off the bat of Drew Butera. Breaking ball inside. Cain almost hit. It's 3-0. Only 2 full counts in this game for Lance, but now he's in his 3rd count with 3 balls. Both times he's gotten to a 3-2 count. He walked Bonifacio and walked Escobar. Swinging 3-0, Kane into left center field, and that ball is in there for the first hit of the night for Kansas City. Kane thinking about 3. The relay throw by Correa, not in time. Kane with a 1-out triple. Six and a third no-hit innings comes to a close as Lorenzo Cain had a 3-0 green light. That's the first real hard hit ball of the night by Kansas City.
Yeah, Lance had to come in here with a strike. Didn't want to put Lorenzo Cain on base. Wanted him to hit his way on. It was just a good fastball up out over the plate that Lorenzo got the barrel to. And you see, we talk about the infield shifts. There's a little bit of an outfield shift right there with George Springer playing on the right-hand side. If you're looking at the TV screen, open up that left center field gap quite a bit for Lorenzo Cain to hustle into 3rd.
Now the Astros will bring the infield in with a tying run at 3rd base and 1 out. Hosmer fouls one away, 0-1. That's the first extra base hit allowed by McCullers on the fastball in the last 7 starts.
Pretty impressive stuff. Now his job is to leave him there.
First base runner to reach as far as 2nd, gets all the way to 3rd. And McCullers ahead 0-2.
Hosmer gave up on that. Pretty good movement out of that fastball from Lance.
Staying alive. Five hits in the game, 4 for the Astros, and the first by the Royals was that triple by Lorenzo Cain. Hosmer, a tough guy to strike out. McCullers could use one here. Stays alive. Foul balls. Lorenzo Cain's been down the line, so it looks like the contact play is on, where the Royals will try and send the runner with any contact. And he gets a big strikeout by McCullers. McCann's going to have to throw to Gurriel, which he does to complete the putout. McCullers strikes out Hosmer to keep the runner on 3rd base, now 2 outs.
And that's really what we've seen in those last 6 starts from Lance McCullers, is the ability to pitch to contact, get the outs, be efficient. But when he gets runners in scoring position or a runner in 3rd like this with a tough hitter like Eric Hosmer, he still has the wipeout breaking ball to go get the punch out when he needs it. Be interesting to see what happens right here.
Mike Moustakas has struck out both at bats tonight. Lance now with 7 strikeouts. Fastball a little bit inside, 1-0.
First base open. Moustakas had himself a walk-off homer. He's having himself a good series too.
On the ground, Altuve dives, can't quite get there. Base hit, Moustakas. This game's tied at 1.
That was a changeup down and away. We know that Moustakas pulls literally everything. Still able to sneak it through that shift on the right-hand side.
Now Altuve just missed the diving stop. If he comes up with that, there's a great chance he makes the play on Moustakas. Here's Brandon Moss. Game tied at 1. Gets past McCann all the way to the backstop. Moustakas heads to second. Now the Royals have the go-ahead run at scoring position at second and Mike Moustakas. One and one. Moss hit McCann on the follow through. Wild pitch charge to Lance McCullers Jr., allowing Moustakas to get into scoring position. Inside, it's 2-1. Well, Lance lost the no-hitter 2 batters into this inning, lost the shutout 4 batters in. Now he's trying to keep this game tied. Three and 1. 3-0 count got him in trouble earlier with the triple by Lorenzo Cain. Will Harris starting to loosen up in the Astros bullpen. McCullers' pitch count now is at 90. 18 pitches into this inning. Towards right, Reddick is there, makes the play for the final out of the inning. But the Royals tie it on an RBI single by Moustakas with 2 away. In the 8th inning, all tied at 1. Just 6 hits total in this game. 4 for the Astros, 2 for the Royals. Unfortunately for Lance McCullers Jr. and the Astros, those 2 came in the last inning and scored a run. Now the Royals go to their bullpen first in the 8th.
Joakim Soria, fastball. Split finger, slider, curveball. Saw him last night throw a 1/3 of an inning.
Pitching in the 3rd game of this series. Soria also pitched a 1/3 of an inning in Monday's game. Got Carlos Beltran on Monday. First batter he faces is Alex Bregman. Last night he faced both Josh Reddick and Jose Altuve. Reddick reached on an error by Escobar against Soria. Bregman, Norioki, and then George Springer. 8-9-1 in the Astros lineup. 1-1 the count to Alex. Alex was the one guy who had the best at bats against Jason Hamels. Singled into left field and hit a deep fly ball to center. Astros with just 3 singles and a double against Hamel, who had been struggling with his command all year, but goes back-to-back starts without allowing a walk after walking 23 in his first 10 starts. 2-1 the count. Now the count's 2-2.
It's time for some late inning magic from this Houston Astros offense.
An offense we're used to seeing pile up runs. They have scored in bunches on this trip, but tonight it's been a struggle. Astros scored 40 in the 3-game series in Minnesota, 20 in the 3-game series at Texas, and 19 in the first 3 games of this series. They're coming in 79 runs in the first 9 games of this road trip. Breaking ball and a beauty, called third strike. Team Soria freezes Bregman for the first out of the 8th inning. One out, nobody on, and Norioki, the batter, grounded out, singled, and scored the Astros' only run when he came home on a balk. The other way down the line. This ball is just foul. Doug Eddings on the call. That ball did not miss the foul line by much. It's 1-1.
Good effort by Aoki. Again, slicing away with that left-handed slashing style that he has.
Gordon was playing him pretty tight to the line before that swing, and now he's even closer to the left field foul line. One almost hits him. It's 2-1.
Not sure how he got out of the way of that.
Hit a skip rope.
Exactly what it was. It's like a retractable landing gear. Wheels up.
Swing and a miss. A little quick pitch there by Soria. Gets Norioki. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 3 new 5-game packs are now available for a limited time only. Don't miss a chance to bring the whole family to see the biggest matchups or get the best midweek deals by visiting astros.com/mini-plans. Two outs, bases empty. George Springer looking for his first hit tonight. He's got a 12-game hitting streak on the line. Swings and misses with that pitch. 0-1. Soria, 33-year-old right-hander. Ahead of the count on Springer, 1-2. Mentioned the Astros scoring 79 runs on this road trip through 9 games. They have not been held to 2 or fewer runs in any road game in over a month. May 6th in Anaheim, they lost that game 2-1 to the Angels. 3 or more in every road game since. Down the right field line, Springer just foul. Feet away from extra bases. Soria 25 innings into this season has not allowed a home run. George coming in tied for 5th in the American League with 16 home runs. And a called 3rd strike. Soria strikes out the side, getting Bregman, Aoki, and Springer. We head to the bottom half of the 8th inning, tied at 1.
Bottom of the 8th. And time to reveal the winner of our Chevy Stroh poll tonight. We had a record number of voters in tonight's Chevy Stroh poll. Remember, you can find it at on our Twitter page at Root Sports SW. And we asked you which non-Bagwell trait is the most productive in team history. Ooh, that was close. Mike Scott edging out Carlos Beltran, 35%.
That was pretty good. That is a tight vote. It kind of looks like the Astro fans are going with a little more loyalty and longevity with Mike Scott. Those 9 seasons with the Astros, accruing 110 wins. 1986 postseason MVP. This was a big one right here to get him in.
Little no-hitter to clinch the division.
Not too shabby.
Bottom half of the 8th inning, Will Harris on the mound. Lance McCullers' night is over. Lance was brilliant tonight. 7 innings of 2-hit, 1-run baseball. And struck out 7 and did exactly what A.J. Hinch was looking for, and that is go deep in the game. Turns it over to Will Harris, who's probably about as rested as anybody in the bullpen. 1-0 pitch is a breaking ball that misses to Gordon. 2-0.
Good look at Will's numbers. They are very good. Another guy coming out of that Astro bullpen with good swing and miss stuff. Fastball with a natural cut. 12-6 hammer.
When Harris pitched Monday's game, he had gone 3 out of 4 days, so he had Tuesday and Wednesday off. Now getting the call tonight. Still pitching 3 out of 6 games, and sounds unusual to hear he's the most rested, but that's how much the bullpen's been used lately. 3-0 pitch is a strike. Is 3-1. Gordon against McCullers, grounded out and struck out. Lance did not have much wiggle room tonight as his offense put up 1 run for him. First hit allowed, 1 out into the 7th inning was a 3-0 fastball that Lorenzo Cain hit into left center field for a triple. Harris has come back from 3-0. Now the count's full. Called 3rd strike. Will battles back, picks up a strikeout to start the bottom half of the 8th inning.
That's that cut I'm talking about. As a left-handed hitter, you see that ball going up and away, you give up on it, but that late last-second cut from Will Harris is what gets him that punch out.
Looking at that MD Anderson strike zone, there were 4 or maybe 5 pitches in that sequence that could have been called strikes. So Will gets the called 3rd, and here's Alcides Escobar. Escobar drew a rare walk his last time up.
Good look at that release point from Will Harris. You see the emphasis on that middle finger as he comes through, and that's what creates that last little cut, late movement, deceiving the hitter.
Nothing at 2.
Escobar complaining about the strike zone, and he's only walked 6 times all year.
Yeah, who is this guy hitting wearing number 2?
I don't know. That's what a lot of maybe Royal fans are asking, but he has torn up the Astros.
But he's taking pitches. This guy swings usually at everything.
There you go. He's back.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. I mean, strike 3, second strikeout for Will Harris. So Will with back-to-back strikeouts. That's now 9 total for the Astros tonight. 7 for McCullers and 2 for Will. Here's Drew Butera. If you're thinking about the Astros 9th, you've got Josh Reddick, Jose Altuve, and Carlos Correa due up. Elvie and Herrera, their closer, has been warming up in the Kansas City bullpen. Ground ball foul. While the Astros don't have a lot of people available in the bullpen tonight, they do have this secret weapon, a.k.a. Devo, a.k.a. the Dragon. Here's Davinsky, should be available, and he's a guy that in a tie game we have seen at various points this season pitch multiple innings. 0-1 pitches away. It's 1-1.
And I'm thinking the way it's shaping up, Devo might be the closer tonight if the Astros are able to get that lead. Giles has thrown a couple of games back to back.
Line drive over Altuve's head into right center field. Drew Butera with a 2-out base hit off Will Harris. They're trying to keep Salvador Perez with a full day's rest. Sometimes you might see Butera lifted for a pinch runner there, but Perez nursing a sore thumb. Butera stays in as the runner. Here's Whit Merrifield. Down and away, 1-0. Merrifield was the guy that had the hit in this series that kind of turned this series around. Astros won the first game Monday night. They were leading 7-1 at one point Tuesday night, and then it was 7-4 with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 8th inning. When Merrifield cleared the bases with a double, that tied the game. The Royals would go on to win in walk-off fashion and then win last night in the Astros bullpen game. Merrifield has hit in 20 of the last 21 games. On the ground towards short. Correa to Altuve. They get Butera. Merrifield now 0 for 4, and we head to the 9th in a 1-1 game. West. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Astros baseball in Kansas City, 1-1 game. We head to the 9th inning. 2, 3, and 4 due up for Houston. Josh Reddick, Jose Altuve, and Carlos Correa. Astros scoring their run on a balk in the 6th inning. Orioles coming in to score. And now they will face the closer for the Kansas City Royals.
Kelvin Herrera goes in upper 90s. Changeup is firm also, averaging 90 miles an hour on that pitch, and a slider roughly 86 to 88 miles an hour. He has very good numbers, 13 saves out of 15 opportunities. He's in here to preserve this game currently as it is.
He has allowed 6 home runs in 24 innings this season,
Yuli,
including 2 by members of the Astros. Yuli Gurriel on Monday night, and also Jake Marisnick early in the season. Starts out Josh Reddick with a fastball at 97, 98 outside for ball 1. Reddick continued his on base streak. He's now reached 16 straight games with a single his last time up. And it's 2-0 to Josh. Herrera pitched in Monday's game with his team down 4-3 because he hadn't worked in 6 days. Ended up giving up a 3-run home run to Yuli Gurriel. Pitched again last night, so appearing for the 3rd time in 4 games, and he's down in the count 3-0 to Josh Reddick. Reddick as the leadoff hitter will be very selective here. Ball 4. 4-pitch walk to Reddick. Astros have the go-ahead runner on.
Good start for the Astros. Josh is definitely one of the guys that is not afraid to go out there and take that walk and get on base. Got the meat of the order coming up.
Jose Altuve looking for his first hit tonight. Herrera's missed with the first 5. It's 1-0.
First pitch changeup.
Ball driven to center field. Pretty well hit. Kane going back. Looking up. Gone. 2-run home run. Jose Altuve. Astros lead 3-1 in the 9th.
Best road hitter in baseball. Continues to do it again, and he does it in a big situation.
Seven home runs allowed by Herrera in 24 innings. 3 of them by the Houston Astros. And the Stros lead it 3-1. Altuve's 18th hit of the road trip. Correa swing and a miss. Big players come up in big spots. Jose Altuve a 2-run home run, breaking this pitcher's duel, which was tied at 1 into the 9th. A 1 pitch is a called strike.
He absolutely stepped on that one. That was beautiful. 106.3 off the bat for Jose Altuve. 430 feet.
Wow.
Of adorableness.
0-2 to Correa. He fouls one off Butera. Fans love when you call Altuve adorable.
He is. I can't not. I mean, he's the most lovable guy in baseball. If you want to model your kid after somebody, model him after a guy who plays hard, plays above, overachieves, and then produces like he does. There's nobody better. He loves the game too. You're not going to tell him that baseball is not the best sport on the planet. He loves this game.
Carlos takes that pitch away. It's 1-2. Mentioned Correa's had a big road trip, but it's not ending on the highest of notes. Carlos trying to snap an 0 for 10 here, but overall the trip has been very successful with 13 RBIs. A lot of that damage done in Minnesota, some in Texas as well. There's a ball driven into center field. Kane on the move, and this is going to get by Lorenzo all the way to the wall. Correa is thinking about 3, and he will get there. Carlos Correa triple to center. First triple of the season for Correa. And the Astros threatening for more in the 9th.
Somebody woke the sleeping Giants. And it might be the fastball. 96 on the inner corner. You see him pull the hands in, but The ability to put the barrel on it and hit a rocket to center field like he just did is very impressive. Tell me the Astros aren't happy to see a guy throwing over 94 miles an hour. They're hitting 283 against fastballs above 94 miles an hour.
As soon as that ball got past Lorenzo Cain, Correa was thinking 3 the whole time. He gets there easily. His 5th career triple, his first this season. Dave Island with a meeting on the mound, talking to his closer Kelvin Herrera, who's now in some trouble of allowing a 3rd run, as Brian McCann will face the infield drawn in with nobody out and a runner on 3rd. McCann with a double in 3 at bats tonight. In the air to center. Cain lines it up. Correa is tagging. Carlos is coming home. Cain's throw is offline. The Astros take a 4-1 lead on the sacrifice fly by Brian McCann. Correa scores. Houston putting up 3 on the closer for Kansas City this inning.
Quality AB for Brian McCann. He's been having himself a good series, but another guy that understands with the runner at 3rd base, look for a pitch elevated, I can drive to the outfield. And it's also a luxury when you have a guy like Carlos Correa at 3rd base who runs extremely well. Don't have to hit a deep fly ball, just a moderate fly ball to score that run. We've seen the big pop from Jose Altuve. Then you see the fundamentally sound baseball by Correa hustling all the way to 3rd and Brian McCann picking him up.
Altuve on the top step. This was an Astros offense that through 8 innings had just 1 run scored on 4 hits. But against the closer Herrera, walk, home run, triple, sac fly. And here's Evan Gattis.
The guy who broke up the no-hitter with a triple gave up a triple by not being able to cut off Correa's ball.
And that's a good point, because that's one where he was closing in on it, thought he had a play, and he had already committed at that point. Once that ball got by him, single turned into a triple.
Crazy game, baseball.
Gattis into left field, and that's going to find some open grass. Evan Gattis with a base hit. The Astros now 3 for 3 with a walk this inning. Evans' first hit of the night. And that's going to be the end of Kelvin Herrera's night.
That'll give us plenty of time to see Jose Altuve turning on 95. How about the catcher Drew Butera? Where'd it go? I'll give you a good idea. It's where the fans in the outfield bleachers are standing up to make a catch. Jose Altuve, in Venezuelan, loosely translated, means damage incorporated. 4-seam fastball barreled up.
430 feet later, the Astros with a 3-1 lead. It's now 4-1. Herrera out of the game. We'll tell you about the new Royals pitcher when we come back.
out to a 4-1 lead with the runs flowing. And I think Kathy is right. Somebody definitely poked the bear. And there he is, Captain Adorable. Raking.
Yuli Gurriel will face Peter Moylan, first batter Moylan faces. Australians now pitched in 3 of the 4 games in this series. And Drew Butera may have been crossed up on that first pitch and goes out to talk to the veteran right-hander, 38-year-old. Very tough on right-hand hitters. All those numbers you see, most of the damage has been done by lefties, who are 9 for 16 against them this year. Astros have Kelvin Herrera's number. They scored 6 runs on him in this series, and maybe a 7th, as Gaddis is his responsibility. Gurriel with a base hit to right. Yuli digging for second. He goes in head first. Gaddis to third. Astros threatening for more, second and third with 1 out.
A rifle shot down that right field line by Yuli Gurriel. Doesn't like to see a lot of pitches, but he recognizes fastball early and smokes it. Nicely done. Runners in scoring position again. Infield in for the Houston Astros.
And the pitch is a slider to Alex Bregman for a strike. 0-1.
Guess what, Todd?
What?
Astros hit for the cycle in this inning again.
Wow. And they, not only did they hit for the cycle, they also added a sac fly and a walk.
Anything else you want?
It's like yeah, I guess you could hit a batter, although you'd rather not see that.
How about at the bottom of the inning?
Yeah, on the foot.
Maybe just graze the jersey.
Graze the jersey. Yeah. First place average, best slugging percentage, most runs scored. I think they're pretty good late in the game. There's that slider that Moylan features, especially the righties. It's 2-1. Good take by Bregman. Astros scored a run against Herrera back at Minute Maid Park when the Royals were an inning away from a series sweep. They added 3 against Herrera on Monday. One of those runs was unearned. And they've added 3 more tonight, all earned. Plus, he's responsible for Evan Gaddis on third base. Coming in, Herrera had allowed 12 runs, 4 of them against the Astros this year. Now he's allowed 15 and 7 for Houston. 3-1 pitch. There's the slider away. Ball 4. The bases are loaded. This inning has gone walk, home run, triple, sac fly, single, end of Herrera's night, double, walk, bases loaded. We're again on the Astros for not being able to score 5 runs in a road game. Well, they may still get there as Jake Marisnick bats with the bases loaded and 1 out. Astros have scored at least 5 in every game on this trip. And it's 1-0. Coming in with an American League leading 331 runs scored. Major League leading 331. Washington next closest at 321. And on the hands of Marisnick, it's 1-1. Gaddis on third base, Gurriel on second, Bregman on first. Marisnick getting his first at bat of the night, came on as a defensive replacement for Nori Aoki in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Line drive into right field. That's a hit. Gurriel with a good jump off second. He will score easily behind Gaddis. 2 more runs cross the plate. Astros have broken it open with a 5 spot in the 9th, and they lead it 6-1.
It's good to see the Astros woke up from that nap. But a great read by Yuli Gurriel. Great job by Jake also. He's got great numbers against right-handed pitchers this year, but doing a good job of just putting it in play. Fight that thing off, go the other way, but with runners in scoring position, watch Yuli Gurriel. This is a guy who checked the outfielders, had a good idea where they were playing, and broke nicely on that ball. If he doesn't break on that ball, he doesn't have an opportunity to score. He did such a good job that Bonifacio didn't even make a throw.
Breaking ball inside on George Springer. Pena flowing.
How good does Lance McCullers feel about his performance today? Number one, but now seeing what the Astros are doing, picking him up.
I don't think you could have asked for anything more.
He's not going to get the W.
Nope.
But he is going to get rewarded knowing that his team backed him up by scoring some runs.
Lance had a no-hitter going until the 7th inning with 1 out. When Lorenzo Cain tripled, he would score an out later on a 2-out single by Mike Moustakas, and that was it. A couple of walks other than that. McCullers was brilliant tonight. George Springer has a chance to extend his hitting streak. A 2-0 pitch towards the middle. Bobbled, fielded, flipped in time to get the runner Marisnik at second. So Springer with a fielder's choice. Unfortunately, his 12-game hitting streak may be coming to a close, but he made a bid for a hit. 2 outs in the ninth.
Tough break, too. Hit that ball well. Shot back up the middle. It literally ate Merrifield alive, but luckily to keep it in the vicinity to get that flip, Marisnik almost gets there in time.
We mentioned Moylan has struggled with left-hand hitters this season. They are 9 for 16 against them. Well, he's facing a lefty here in Josh Reddick. Reddick had a hit against Moylan earlier in this series. Takes a called strike. Moylan, like Herrera, pitching for the 3rd time in 4 games. We see Chris Davinsky still warming up, and we also see Francis Martez warming up. He has never pitched in a major league game. Number 1 prospect for the Astros just called up today with Dallas Keuchel going on the DL. So with double barrel action, Blummer, is it if it gets to 6 maybe? Because right now it's at 5. Yeah. If it gets to 6, it's Martez inning.
Well, you've got them both up too, and you know you'd hate to waste Devo. I know that A.J. Hinch always says if he gets a guy up, he wants to bring him in the game. But if it becomes a big enough lead and he's able to keep Davinsky out of game action, possibly, and if you do bring in Martez and you feel things getting a little out of hand or you get uncomfortable, you've got Devo waiting in the wings because he's plenty loose enough to get hot fast to come in and back up Martez. So it might be an interesting idea by A.J. Hinch to bring him in and get him some time.
1-2 the count.
I'm in favor of the win, and I love Francis Martez. But for me, and the way things have been going, if Devo's hot and ready, I'm bringing him in.
Reddick has been on base twice in this game, including walking to start this 9th inning. 10th man of the inning to bat for Houston. There goes Springer, fouled away. Astros had 4 hits leading into this inning. They have 5 in this inning. And 5 runs scored. With the 6 runs tonight, 75 runs on this road trip. It is a 10-game trip. I think most can do the math there. 7.5 runs per game. That is pretty solid. 40 runs in Minnesota, 20 runs in Texas, and now a 4-game series. And the Astros scoring 25 runs. 25 runs in this, actually 8.5 runs per game. 40, 20, and 25. 85 runs in this road trip. 8.5 per game.
That is a lot.
Swing and a miss, that'll do it. But 10 men come to the plate. 5 score. The Astros lead 6-1.
Jose Altuve, leader of this ball club, with the stick. wakes him up, puts him ahead. Today coming into this ball game, the bullpen was beat up. Word that Dallas Keuchel had just gone on the DL, and it was time for the young man to arrive again on this stage here for the Houston Astros, and he did. The power fastball was good. The curveball was excellent again. Even the occasional changeup sneaking by some of these Kansas City Royal hitters. But he has pitched well against them in the past. He pitched well against them today. He gave the Astros 7 strong innings to back this bullpen up in order to use Will Harris, and now the Astros are going to Chris Davinsky to shut this thing down and get on that plane.
Davinsky pitching in the second game of this series. He pitched here on Tuesday night. Devo in that game got the final out of the 6th inning, and then a 1-2-3-7 facing 4 batters, retiring 4 batters. He has the 2-3-4 of the Royals lineup, with Jorge Bonifacio leading off.
Good numbers for Devo. Fastball, changeup, the occasional breaking ball. Good swing and miss type stuff.
In the air, center field. Bonifacio retired on a fly out to Jake Marisnick for out number 1. And what Lance McCullers did tonight was very special on a lot of levels. It was a team that was facing a situation with a bullpen. You knew you'd have Will Harris and Chris Davinsky. Other than that, you had a guy who had never pitched in the major leagues in Francis Martez, and you weren't sure who else, if anybody, was available beyond those 3.
Well, if you look back at the last start Lance McCullers had, too, a little sketchy, kind of reverted back to who he was last year and the year before, getting excited, missing the zone a lot, but really made the adjustment. And how about throughout the course of this year, talking about how rough it was on the road for him, now pitching well on the road, got a good routine going. But a real chance for him at Lance McCullers, playing behind Dallas Keuchel, who's got a Cy Young Award in his back pocket and pitching for another one. But a real opportunity for Lance McCullers to make a statement and say, hey, I got your back too, boys. Just hop on and let's go for a ride.
It's funny because I was thinking right along with you there. That's a great point, because you do get a lot of momentum from your starting pitcher, and when you lose a guy like Dallas Keuchel, now you're looking at Lance McCullers Jr. and you're also looking at the rest of the rotation that don't necessarily give you 6 or 7 innings to start, so you need that depth out of McCullers, and he gave it to them tonight. Ground ball to Correa, and the Astros within and out. Don't forget, coming up after the game, it's time for the Astros post-game show. Kevin Eschenfelder and Mike Stanton with a recap of this one. They'll also recap the road trip, a look at Lance McCullers Jr. and Julie Morales in the Astros clubhouse and on the field, gathering A.J. Hinch and player reaction. McCullers on the road, we can stop talking about that. Really, we could a few starts ago, even though he didn't have his best start in Texas on this trip. But yeah, he gives them innings when you needed it most. And now Chris Davinsky looking for a 1-2-3 ninth. The ball will settle in to Josh Reddick's glove, and the Astros win 6-1 with a 5-run ninth inning. And they head back home with an 8-2 road trip.
Player of the game is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, and it is everybody's favorite, Jose Altuve, the little man that could. Team needed a little lackluster the first 8 innings, but he showed up after that Josh Reddick walk and launched one out of there to put the Astros ahead. Sent a clear signal to those guys in that dugout. Let's score some runs.
Astros end up splitting the series against Kansas City. They go 8-2 on the 3-city trip to Minnesota, Texas, and KC. And now they'll head home to take on the Angels tomorrow. We'll have more, including the post-game show, coming up next.